are honoured to have with us Mr. Dasun Pereira, Chief Executive Officer of Central Securities Limited, to conduct this session. Mr. Pereira, a CFA charter holder, has a diverse career spanning over a decade in public and private sectors. He currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer at Central Securities Limited. Previously, he held key positions at NDB Wealth Management, JB Financial Private Limited, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, and Senkatakula Finance PLC. His roles included portfolio management, buy-side research, capital market development, regulatory policy implementation, and investment strategy articulation. He gained international experience at Inspiration Group in Germany and BlackRock in the UK, focusing on real estate investment and investment management solutions respectively. Mr. Pereira holds a Bachelor of Commerce First Class from the University of Delhi, a Bachelor of Laws from Buckinghamshire University, and a Master of Finance from the Judge Business School, University of Cambridge. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Pereira on stage.
A very good afternoon. Professors from the University of Sri Jayawardenepura and dear students. So first of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank for giving me this opportunity to come speak to all of you. It's my turn. Okay. Yes, so right, so the task entrusted upon me today is to talk to you about on navigating the post-crisis capital market, and especially how we as stockbrokers had to evolve given the crisis. But most importantly, I'll touch upon the role of a stockbroker and also how we can help you, as well as what we can offer you in addition, you being an investor in the market. So now we've heard the term brokers, right? So we get different types of brokers. We get real estate brokers, car brokers, money brokers, and different types of brokers. So among them, you also get stockbrokers. But then, are they all the same? Definitely not. So what differentiates a stockbroker from all these other types of brokers that you see in the market space? Now, a stockbroker is an entity that is licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, right? And we are also licensed to buy and sell securities that are listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange on behalf of our clients. And other than carrying out transactions, stockbroking firms will also provide other services to its investors, be it providing the research that is required so that you can make informed decisions regarding your investments. And also, the operations of a stockbroking firm is governed by various regulations, starting from the rules and regulations that are emanating from the Securities and Exchange Commission Act, as well as rules stipulated by the Colombo Stock Exchange and several others, which we will discuss as we go on. So the key thing to remember here is that unlike other types of brokers, a stockbroker is a licensed entity, and inside stockbrokers you get registered investment advisors. Again, now this term stockbroker is interchangeably used for firms as well as individuals who we refer to as RIAs or registered investment advisors. So now when you take the registered investment advisor also, it is not a role that can be performed by any individual. One cannot just wake up one day and think, okay, today I'm going to be a registered investment advisor and go perform the duties, right? So now that is there is no barrier. If you want to be a broker dealing in cars, you want to do it today, yes, you can make a decision and try your luck today. Same with property, but not when it comes to stockbroking. Again, in order to be a registered investment advisor also, you need to hold a license that is issued by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So in order to be qualified and to be a license holder, there is a qualification framework that is introduced by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So you need to first build the necessary knowledge base that is required, and then there are certain exams, after which there is a Viva session that is conducted by the Securities and Exchange Commission. You need to face the panel, and upon successfully completing all those steps, you can obtain your license. But then it doesn't end there. Now, we know the market is an evolving place. So what you learn today is not going to be of applicable in the same context for the next, forget about 10 years, even 3 years, 5 years, or even 1 year's time, because things change. So therefore, again, the Securities and Exchange Commission organizes continuous development programs, and registered investment advisors are required to attend these programs in order to continuously update their knowledge. So once you fulfill all these requirements, only one will be able to become a registered investment advisor. Right, so now let's look at the investor segments, right? So now, having looked at the market, you will be able to identify different types of investors in the market. So broadly, you will have the local investors, then you will also have the foreign investors, and then you can further break down into individual investors, funds, high net worth individuals, and so on. So now here, since the market is comprising of these different categories of investors, now a registered investment advisor will find it difficult to cater to all these market segments or investor segments, simply because the needs and requirements of each of these investor types are different. Because a key component when it comes to investing is understanding the risk, right? There is no investment without risk, right? For there to be reward, there will be risk. So now, different investor types will also have different risk tolerance levels and risk requirements and so forth. So therefore, that is why I say the objectives of investing and risk tolerance levels and various other requirements that each of these investors would look for will be different. So more often than not, what happens is therefore is that the RIAs or the registered investment advisors tend to sort of specialize towards a certain investor segment that they would cater to. So certain RIAs would be more favorable towards catering to retail investors. Some would be catering to institutional investors, be it funds, so it can be state funds, private funds, or even the unit trust funds that Tushara was talking about. And also it can be even foreign investors, because what we've seen is that, especially when it comes to the mindset, and even Tushara has pointed out, is that how foreigners look at the market, their requirements, their holding periods, their holding capacities are very different to our local investors. So therefore, an RIA or registered investment advisor catering to foreign investors will have a complete different set of requirements to meet. So what happens is, so they tend to sort of specialize on what market segment they would want to cater to. So now, before we go into this slide, so on this, now even though different RIAs would have a favorable market segment they would like to touch upon, stockbroking firms would ideally cater to all segments, Now, having said that, I need to add a caveat because I know certain stockbroking firms again would prefer to cater to some market segments over others. But however, at Senfin, we do not discriminate, or we do not have any preferred segment as such. We cater to all segments, and we have a team of RIAs who are capable of catering to all segments. Because why? Because no point in time all these investor segments will be active in the market at the same time, right? So if we are only going to cater to a particular segment, let's say retail investors, now currently we see a market that is predominantly retail heavy, and few years back we saw a market which was predominantly dominated by foreign investors. So now, for example, if we are to only focus on one segment, then in times where the market is inactive for that segment, it is going to be an issue. So therefore, at Senfin, we cater to all segments. And in addition, now as mentioned in the introduction also, so our parent is Senkaregala Finance. So Senkaregala Finance has a branch network of 120 branches, which means for us it is 120 touch points all across the country to cater to these investors. So therefore, there is no requirement for us to only restrict ourselves to institutional investors or high net individuals or foreign investors or so on. We do have the capacity to really go out and even cater to the retail investor segment while catering to the other investor types. So now, having covered that, so now let's look at the different divisions you get inside a stockbroking firm. So of course, the primary would be the registered investment advisors, or what we also refer to as the sales team, because they are the front line. They are the ones who go out there, talk to investors. So they are the face of the company that you will see on a day-to-day basis. But they are not the only people when it comes to a stockbroking firm, right? So now we have other divisions such as research division, compliance division, documentation, then IT, finance and administration, then the risk division, and also digital engagement. So I'll touch upon a bit briefly on the key divisions, but then here I would also like to point out, so now since we are also to talk about how this whole crisis has sort of given us indications on the requirement to evolve. So now this risk division and also the digital engagement division are not divisions that you will find across all stockbrokers in Sri Lanka. So now in terms of the regulations laid down by the SEC as well as CSC, now risk management does happen in stockbroking firms, but it is also happening as part of the compliance function. But however, given the crisis that we've gone through, we've also come to, we've thought about it and we've seen the requirement. Although the rules don't stipulate for a standalone risk division, it is prudent that we have a standalone risk division. So that is, we'll discuss a little bit more as we go on. So that is one key area where we have evolved as a stockbroking firm, where we have established a standalone risk division to better identify and manage and mitigate risks that are there for us. And then the other one is the digital engagement division. So now we have gone ahead and set up a new division, which is the digital engagement division. So reason being, one is with the crisis. So this was actually more to do with the pandemic situation, as Tushar also pointed out. The way in which the investors trade and behave has changed dramatically is one. Two is also the new generation. We have a new generation who is tech savvy, and this traditional means of communication and reaching out is not going to be effective with them. They are more prone to their mobile phones. They would scroll on the devices, and they are very much in touch with technology, and most of their engagement is through social media. So therefore we've set up a separate division to engage and reach out to this investor segment more effectively in a way that is more convenient and they are comfortable with. And in addition to that, we also use these social media channels. One, the primary aspect is of course to disseminate our research reports and information that is required for investors, but in addition we also use these platforms to give an insight to the outside world on the how things are inside a stockbroking firm. What is the corporate culture that we have in our organization, so that even for you all can go and check out our media platforms. I will share the social media platforms in a slide later, so you all can also get an idea of, in addition to the market related information, you all can get an idea of, okay, what it is like to work in a stockbroking firm, what is it like, what is life like at Senfe, right? So now speaking a little bit on the RIAs, so their primary role is in terms of getting investors into the market. So it starts with identifying potential investors, then they would create awareness to these individuals about the market. Then of course you need to have a CDS account in order to trade in the CSE, so the account opening process. Then we also have a credit evaluation process, simply. So in addition to the KYC process of understanding customers, so from a risk division we also want to understand the risk parameters of each of the clients that trade with us. So, and then we also continuously monitor and see whether their trades and the trading behaviors match with what information they have given to us when at the account opening stage, where in terms of the KYC information and so forth. So there is a continuous risk monitoring aspect since we have a standalone risk division. And then of course our RIAs will give investment recommendations and then also execute transactions on your behalf. And then finally of course there is the after sales services, so be it from sending out contract notes or facilitating the settlement process and so on. And well, in fact so with the advent of technology and so on, so in addition to contract notes and stuff, so at Senfin, in addition to the SMS that you get from CSC regarding your transactions, we also have SMS facilities for all our clients, including order entries, order execution, order cancellations, or even amendments. To each of those steps will be notified to you as and when your stockbroker is working on your behalf, so that you are always fully informed. Right now, so we discussed that an RIA or registered investment advisor is not like the ordinary broker that you get when it comes to real estate or these car broking and so on. They are qualified individuals. They've gone through a structured training program that is conducted by the regulator and so forth. And of course, yes, they are qualified and they understand finance. They can read financial statements, they can analyze them and so forth, but at the same time they need to service clients. So most of their time is also focused on spending with the client. So therefore we have the research division separately, whose function is essentially only to really deep dive into all these information that is out there, because we know that the stock markets information is key, and then also we need timely accurate information. So, and then data as it is of also no use. So that is where the research division would come in, and they would analyze this information and make meaningful analysis and recommendations out of it, of which one segment is they would then communicate these findings to the RIAs on a daily basis. Then the RIAs can in turn communicate the same with their clients, as well as then they would also directly disseminate these research reports to the client base. So now at Senfin, we have given access to our entire research portfolio, be it from counter specific research, it can be sector reports, or it can be market summaries. So because we have various types of reports, so some of which I have indicated. So if you have a account with Senfin, whether you are a high net worth, whether you are retail, foreign, local, doesn't matter, or even if you don't trade but you have an account, we will give full access, and our research can be accessed through various media, including our social media platforms. So then we have the compliance division. So we have the regulator also with us here today. So compliance is a very key role when it comes to a stockbroking firm. So we are governed starting from the SEC Act. Then there are rules that have been issued by the regulator stemming from the SEC Act. Then there are other rules that we need to comply with the Colombo Stock Exchange, being a trading member of the Colombo Stock Exchange. And then there are also rules and regulations that are stipulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in terms of from the FIU, or the Financial Intelligence Unit, as well as the AML, anti-money laundering regulations. And then also sometimes we have these other requirements that are stemming from investors, mainly these foreign investors. They would have certain compliance requirements and checks that they would require broking firms to have in order for them to trade with us or through us. So compliance makes sure that we are fully compliant with all these requirements, and then at the same time they would also conduct routine sessions for the RIAs to update them on any regulatory developments, so that they are also informed, as well as they can in turn inform the clients, so that clients are also aware of the regulatory requirements and rules, and hopefully don't get a call from Tushara. So then comes our risk division. So now here what we do is that now, like I mentioned, this is a new development, especially coming with the crisis. So what our risk division does is, so we've identified three stakeholders or areas through which the company is exposed to risk and needs to identify, measure and monitor, as well as in certain instances try and mitigate risk. So now the risk can be in terms of the risks that are inherent in the company, and also risks that are emanating from clients, as well as then risks that are coming from the RIAs. So now risk of the company, of course, it would be as a operational institute, be it a stockbroker or even a FMCG, there are risks that are involved. So it's about managing the inherent internal risk. So I will not go too much into it. Let's look at the clients. So clients can be in terms of, so we also analyze the clients' trading behaviors. What sort of stocks do they invest into? Because sometimes we extend credit to these clients. So then we need to have a better assessment on what we are exposed to, whether we are overexposed, what our exposure limits are, or what our exposures are like, what kind of stocks are these clients trading into. So all that analysis and the management of risk happens there. And then the RIAs. So here when we say RIAs, the risk coming from RIAs, the focus is on whether for the firm are we having too much of emphasis on a particular RIA or a segment of RIAs, or whether the trading behaviors and the investment, how the executions have been taking place, to all of it, whether how any of that can have a impact on the company is what we are looking at. So it is different from the compliance role in terms of looking at whether they are operating within the rules and regulations of that are there in the market, but this is in trying to understand what sort of risk can their activities pose on the firm and its continuity. Then we have the documentation division, another important division. But then of course now today you guys are fortunate, as the university has also organized an opportunity for you all to open a CDS account. So I think after the session you will be able to do that, and then I have my colleagues from Senfin also who are more than happy to help you out with the process. So, and in fact, like Tushar pointed out again, after the digitization, end-to-end operations of the CSC are digitized, so including the account opening can be done through the CSC mobile app, and it will not take even 5 minutes. So I urge all of you all to download the CSC app, and then in terms of the required documents would be your national identity card, and if the address on your NIC it differs from your current address, in that event you would require a address proof. Ideally what we accept is a utility bill, and then finally the bank statement where your account details are there, so that we can verify that this particular bank account is actually yours, right? So do talk to the staff after the event and proceed in opening the account. So you can also I believe you all have the presentation as well, so you can scan the QR as well and start the process. And now here again, speaking of how trading trends have changed, so we heard that majority of now there is a trend towards investors trading via online platforms. So at Senfin we facilitate online trading for all our investors across the board. There is no fee or minimum investment requirement. It's free of charge. I am aware that certain broking firms do have requirements when it comes to providing the internet trading facility, but we at Senfin have decided to open it across the board. So whether you're going to invest 100 million or 1,000 rupees, doesn't matter, we will give. So now you might be wondering, of course providing the online trading facility comes at a cost to the firm. For us there is a cost, so why are we giving it across everyone, irrespective of your portfolio value and whatnot? Because that is a strategic decision that we've taken as a firm, is because what we see is, even though there is a cost for us today, in the long term the winners will be you all as investors, and most of all the capital market as a whole. So that is the reason why we have opened across. So I hope all of you will make use of these opportunities that we are giving you all. And then just to touch upon the transaction fee. So if you trade in the Colombo Stock Exchange, the only fees that you would have to bear are the transaction fees. So that includes the brokerage fee, the CSC fee, CDS fee, then the share transaction levy and the SEC cess. And then also for large value transactions, the fee would change. So apart from that, there are no other charges that are involved. Right, coming to a very important slide for each of you who are seated there. So now, of course, you can come to us and engage with the market as an investor, but it doesn't stop there. There are other opportunities for you, especially those coming from a finance background, right? So career opportunities are available, and especially capital markets and even stockbrokers is not an industry which is very popular and is on top of your mind when it comes to looking at career options, especially with a traditional mindset. But the world has changed a lot. There are so much of new opportunities, and like even your professor mentioned in his remarks, the government has new plans to develop this industry, so there is a lot of scope for growth and room for development, as well as a market also. Yes, we have come a long way since its inception, but also we are a very small market that is, but in fact very rapidly developing thanks to the guidance given by our regulator. So now, which also means, unlike your traditional sectors or industries which are grown and somewhat stagnant in their growth, this is an industry where there is ample opportunity for you to grow, and then also if you perform, there is, which means there is room for you to also grow at a accelerated rate. So definitely, so some of the career options is definitely you can join us as a registered investment advisor, or you can join as a research analyst in the research division, or you can function as a risk analyst, especially if you're joining with us, because we have a standalone risk division. And then of course you can be an compliance officer, or you can also be involved as a fund manager, because within the group we not only offer stockbroking, but our group has a vision of being a one-stop financial solutions hub for all investors to meet all their financial requirements. So therefore, starting from our parent, we have the finance company offering very simple things, such as if you want to open a savings account, we have it. If you want to obtain a loan facility, we have it, be it leasing or securities trading, of course through us. And then also we have our sister company, Senfin Asset Management, through which you can access to the unit trust funds or even private portfolio management. Then we have margin trading and a whole load of offering. So therefore, there are all these opportunities. So don't just look at us in terms of from being an investor, but then we can offer more than that. So definitely invest in the Colombo Stock Exchange, because wealth creation is very important, and especially it is important that you start early at a younger age, because you need to take long-term views, and at your age your risk taking ability is also higher. So your age is the ideal to start, but don't stop there. You can also build a very lucrative career in this industry. So do consider us for that as well. So you can reach out to us on these. So these information you can have, and then more importantly, experienced and qualified registered investment advisors. So you have all the information. You can get in touch with anyone that you like, as well as we have our social media platforms. So do follow and subscribe to these channels. One is you will have access to loads of valuable information, so that, because for us at Senfin, it's not about creating an investor who is going to buy and sell shares. For us, the focus is about having an investor who is knowledgeable and is making informed investment decisions. So that is why we put in all this work, and we have gone to the extent of even creating new divisions to reach out to all these new investor segments, moving, not that we've stepped out, but while being present in the traditional means of communication, we've also taken these new platforms to reach out, is because we want to disseminate this information so that you and all investors can make informed investment decisions. So do follow and subscribe to this channel so that you have access to this information, as well as check out other social media platforms like TikTok, where you can get an insight as to what life is like at Senfin. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.